Today's America's Cup coverage is proudly brought to you by Toyota. Every day, bringing our team one step closer.
To 2 minutes now. Team New Zealand have been doing very well now. So the final couple of minutes is going to be vital. Well, really the next minute will be vital. That's where they lay their beds.
I like what Team New Zealand are doing here. I think full control above the ley line. Look for Team New Zealand attack here. Alinghi tags, Team New Zealand follows straight away here. Get there. High risk at the moment. Still plenty of time to kill, I think.
Team New Zealand haven't got the overlap though. They were trying to get that, but gee, they're still pretty close to the line, and the time left, they could easily get to the line. They've got to scrub some time off.
Denmark attacking immediately to leeward of Alinghi.
And now here comes another quick tack coming back from Alinghi to try and shake off. And they're also trying to kill time as well, Jimmy.
Big question here is that ley line for the race committee. If Team New Zealand can get up, keep Alinghi to windward and hold them above the race committee ley line, they can do the full shutout start.
Airbeard will be in huge trouble. Shut out, and think of a line coming down from the committee boat. If we get an aerial shot, you'll see a line coming down from the aerial. And will the bow there of Alinghi actually take them outside the committee boat, or are they inside into the final minute now? There's the committee boat. Now you can see it. It looks like Alinghi may be just inside.
This, to me, is looking very, very good for Team New Zealand, PJ. Must tack here. Team New Zealand must tack straight over it.
Well, if they can, then they've got him. They've got him shut out. Surely, Jimmy.
Must tack. Little delay there.
Now they're coming back and they're lining up to line down the start.
They just let off the hook there. I really thought there was an opportunity.
Right, they're winding up now for the final 20 seconds. Certainly, Team New Zealand were in a position to cut Alinghi outside the ley line from the committee boat. Here we are to the final 10 seconds. Really winding up. Both bowmen calling their skippers up. Go for it. The start. Race 7. 32nd America's Cup.
There's a mark, yellow first.
Team New Zealand down to leeward and ahead.
Alinghi coming off the right-hand side there and getting in this direction, what I think is the favoured side. I really thought they were in trouble there, and just wondered if Dean Barker could have put a little bit more pressure on there.
By cutting them out to the right in that final 90, 60 seconds.
Exactly. That
past the line under the committee boat. Anyway, it didn't happen. We'll look at that later. But now the key thing is to see what happens now as they hunker down in this breeze. And Virtual Eye giving it to Team New Zealand by a metre. It's bow to bow. Now it is Alinghi out by a metre. It's nothing in it. It's an absolute bow to bow and a trial of strength. And currently we've got over 16 knots here on North Star. It's fresh out there.
The lighter wind is very, very difficult. And that's what we've seen. I mean, we look at the track here, looking at the oval shot of the Virtual Eye. Separation's been very, very similar since the start.
So they're locked in together. And that's what we saw in the blowout Spinnaker race, race 5 as well, that I think people thought, wow, once the breeze gets over 15, certainly 16 knots, Team New Zealand's right back in this. Whereas there's been a lot of speculation, maybe 12, 13, 14 knots. There may be an advantage to Alinghi, but I think that's moot as well. This has really come down to a regatta of seize your chances. Here goes Alinghi tacking away.
Yeah, good sign for Team New Zealand. They're able to force Alinghi off, but took quite a bit of time. Certainly, it's probably holding for 4 or 5 minutes, I think, off the start line there on start attack before they could force Alinghi to get onto port. Virtualised showing, New Zealand 20 metres ahead, but you must remember that Alinghi have tacked and have paid a penalty for that. Team New Zealand must also do the same.
So round figures, you lose between 20 and 25 metres in attack, depending?
Yeah, about 20, 25 metres around a boat length, maybe a little more. But I think once Team New Zealand tack, it'll be very, very similar to how it was before. Probably a few metres either way.
That's right. They're at the top of their game and they're at the top of the tree at the moment. There's no doubt about that. They've basically beaten everybody they've come up against in the last few years, and they are as good as you get.
I think we might be hearing a course change. Hear Peter Riggio's voice coming through.
He was asking for the microphones, I think.
Oh, was he? Because there was no talk coming off, was it?
Very little.
Yeah. Well, you might be right, Tom. I'm surprised. I mean, one of the things we were talking about before the commentary was the wonderful microphone audio that we've been getting off the boats, and it just enhances the coverage so much, but there have been none so far. Now, whether that's a problem associated with the fact that we've had problems on board North Star as well, but the King of Spain is in town at the moment, and so there are all sorts of RF frequencies out there, signals being blocked for security, I suppose. There's a lot of security out there, and therefore the airwaves are full of little things that haven't been there before.
That's right. It's ironic, isn't it, that the guys rely sometimes on, we as commentators rely on the audio off the boats, and they rely on good information from GPSs and so on. And as you increase the intensity of the observation, you start to upset these other communications, and having something random like extra security.
Yeah. We're getting a bit of noise off them now.
6 and 6.
First cross of the 7th race of the 32nd America's Cup. We're live here on One Sport. And is Emirates Team New Zealand advanced enough? Liebau. Brad Butterworth waited a long time, Tom, but picked a very good moment to come back onto starboard tack.
Yeah, well, he would have probably preferred a nice little right-hand shift so he could come back a bit closer to them, but Ron Vila was telling him how much room he had, and you want to be able to do 2 or 3 tacks before you get shut down on the ley line, because it can be a long, miserable ride up that starboard tack ley line if you're sailing on the gas of the other yachts, and so they'll be looking to mix it up a wee bit. And that wind direction seemed quite fair, and the Kiwis were comfortably able to make a lee bow stick, and in fact I think if they'd wanted to they could have slid across if they wanted to the right.
Okay, so they were right in the middle of the course, weren't they, at that stage? And you see that advantage line still with New Zealand of a boat length and a half. They tack back and Alinghi respond. Now, it was in this situation on leg 3 of the previous race where just a little bit of pressure allowed Alinghi to get in front, wasn't it? So we've got to watch this with a great deal of interest.
That's right. It'll come down to the ability of the yachts to accelerate, and whether one or the other gets a nice little puff or shift, because they're automatically out of phase, as you can imagine. One goes to the left, one goes to the right, and they come back, and the wind is phasing a little bit, and that'll sometimes favour one, sometimes the other.
So this boat race is going to be as thrilling as the previous ones. Hopefully there are no torn spinnakers or anything like that while on board New Zealand anyway.
That's right. I think they would have imagined a thorough, you could imagine they would have done a thorough check of everything, and including any sharp edges around the hatch and anywhere where a spinnaker might be.
Long fingernails.
That's right. And as you can see, Kiwis are maintaining a significant, small but significant edge. They're able to make these lee bow tacks stick, and if they can continue pushing them all the way out to the starboard ley line, Alinghi will have to either do a double tack or follow, or go a little further on port than they would otherwise would like to.
So just have a look and see where they are on the course before we go out to Martin Tasker and Peter Lester. There they are on the course, 3 minutes to the starboard ley line, roundabout anyway, and they're very quickly progressing to that first mark. exchanges. Emirates Team New Zealand had a lead on the machine of about 50 metres. It's being hauled back in now by Alinghi, but we are getting out towards that starboard ley line. It's just as hot as it could be.
Alinghi tacking very nicely. Now the advantage line will come and go a little bit, and what will be vital for both teams is picking when you're going to tack. When are you going to come back at the opposition? Interesting that Emirates Team New Zealand electing to extend here, not going back at Alinghi. We can see the advantage line just going out a little bit to Emirates Team New Zealand. That's not speed, that's a function of the manoeuvres. Each time you tack, you lose valuable metres. Alinghi in the windward position. You just know there's nothing between these two boats in 15, 16 knots. Emirates Team New Zealand tacking.
Well, if the top mark is going to be a huge moment in this race, it's going to be a huge moment in this regatta. This is, of course, let's remind ourselves, match point for the boat on the right for Alinghi, and it's the last chance for Emirates Team New Zealand to stay in this game.
Butterworth has a quick look at Emirates Team New Zealand. Alinghi bow down, look for them to gauge up to whether Emirates Team New Zealand strong position, lee bow tack. Alinghi will not be able to survive there for too much, I wouldn't think. But Alinghi now goes into high mode. We heard the call off board. Emirates Team New Zealand bow forward. Can Alinghi take the New Zealanders all the way to the ley line? If that happens, Alinghi will be ahead at Mark 1. New Zealand will want to squeeze Alinghi off their windward hip before the ley line. Now New Zealand going to high mode. Alinghi shows the uncanny knack of being able to survive on the windward hip. New Zealand in a strong position, but Alinghi able to survive.
Boy, we're locked in a super boat race here, Jimmy.
Yeah, pretty tight, just as we thought. I mean, both boats very little in this. I mean, it's gone back and forwards. I think Alinghi's just benefited from that right-hand side shift we talked about at the start. Team New Zealand did a nice job, had Ed Baird on the ropes. Only 9 metres there, we see just under a minute out to that port ley line.
So the key thing is, can Alinghi hang in there? Otherwise they're going to have to double tack.
Exactly.
So it's vital for Alinghi to hang in, vital for Team New Zealand to spit Alinghi out in the next 60 seconds, 50 seconds, 45 seconds.
I think Alinghi will do it there. I mean, they've just got enough separation, distance to lure there to Team New Zealand. But either way, I mean, this is going to be a very, very exciting run. Both boats will be locked together, and we're going to see plenty of action.
Jimmy's talking about the run meaning down under Spinnaker, but first, although it is now credited, virtualised crediting Team New Zealand with an advantage of 10 metres, once they tack, then the pendulum will go to
Just approaching ley line, look for Alinghi to tack.
So once they get out to the ley line, that's the left-hand touch line. Now they come out very quickly and they will tack.
There's that ley line on virtual eye just there. Now Team New Zealand opting to sail a high slow mode, trying to force Alinghi into the tack, really closing it down. Here goes Alinghi now.
So Alinghi tacks now, and Team New Zealand will follow them in. So now the pendulum will go from 14 metres, 16 metres to Team New Zealand. They're above the ley line, remember. And Alinghi's just got their bow out. So in this position, it will be Alinghi who's around the top mark first. Boy, oh boy, this is close. What pressure it is on the crews in this weight of breeze.
See a luff here from Ed Baird.
Yeah, it's a luff up. Right, I'll explain a defensive move. Expand, Jimmy.
Okay, so the boat on the right here, Alinghi, the leeward boat, has right of way. The windward boat, which is Emirates Team New Zealand, as windward boat, must keep clear. So we saw Alinghi there do a luff Team New Zealand up. See the umpire signal there, that means overlap. The boats are overlapped, And Alinghi has full luffing rights. Now, if I was Ed Baird, I would slow the game down, luff Team New Zealand up and try and get them stopped. I think this is a big opportunity for Alinghi here to take a little jump for the downwind run here. This will be real interesting.
So the defence is on from Alinghi to try and slow down Team New Zealand out to the left.
So Alinghi building speed here. Team New Zealand getting stuck in irons.
And Team New Zealand, remember they had the overlap. I will watch that sign soon. There won't be an overlap. And they're clear now. So that was a splendid defensive move by Ed Baird. Now they're in the zone. Expand, Jimmy, before the hoist.
In the zone, two battling zone around the top mark. Alinghi in there, clear. No overlap.
Mark 1, race 7 of the America's Cup. It has been a thriller on this first leg. Team New Zealand leading for most of the way. Super tactics, brilliant defence by Alinghi. Totals up that they lead by 7 seconds. Now here comes the hoist from Team New Zealand.
The textbook sets by both boats. To the bow team taking down the headsails now. Obviously don't need those until the next upwind leg. Even though Ed Baird was able to jump out probably about 2 lengths, still Team New Zealand in a very powerful position. You see them just stuck in one of the quarter waves behind Alinghi and in a great position to attack down this run.
Meanwhile, as we can see the Seaway and the white caps today, so that also comes down to the trimmers and what they're trying to do. And maybe we can get Dave Snack just to show us some virtual eye, the distilled airflow coming over, and what Team New Zealand is trying to do to Alinghi on this downhill slide. So they're not quite close enough yet, Jimmy, are they, with that snow, if you like, coming off Dave Snack's graphics to really make an impression?
No, not close enough for that, but the good thing here is they are close enough to attack for the next move. Now, the question is, I think given this course orientation, the deep angles they sail when the wind speed is up, that it's a lot longer to go to the corner of the course. You see the boats in the upwind leg tacking and getting to the corners quickly, but because they're able to sail so much deeper and almost directly towards the next mark in the bottom of the course, they will be on this jibe for a lot longer.
This is exceptionally close. The margin time getting down to 45 metres, stretching out to 55 metres, but really that's nothing, is it? It's just that Team New Zealand need to close the gap slightly to get into the right position to affect Alinghi's breeze.
That's right. You can't really affect Alinghi's breeze on this jibe because to do so they'd have to wind up out to windward, which is going on the outside. You see Alinghi rolling into a jibe now, and they figure they can get the air clear probably in front of them on the next jibe. So they're basically giving away the starboard tack advantage to work the inside. Both boats, as you can see, the lead running between 48 and 58 metres, and there's a tendency for the boat behind to be locked into the second or sometimes the third wave of the boat in front, and then as the interference comes with the other waves that are coming from the wind, then you get these little minor surges.
Well, people back at home watching this time will be saying, oh, goodness me, don't let them go too far away, you've got to cover. But they have to wait for their moment, don't they, to come back?
Well, normally the boat behind likes a little bit of separation, and the Team New Zealand have gotten through that much. I think it's about right. Brad was saying that if Alinghi jibed earlier, he wasn't going to, if they initiated the jibe, he was going to wait and go air behind rather than trying for air in front. And by jibing first, of course, he's got air in front, and now it'll be a situation, of course, when they meet, the Kiwis will have starboard. So if they're closer, Alinghi will have to jibe. But if she's still in front, she could elect to cross over and take the outside again.
This has been, we heard from you were with Peter Montgomery on race 1, I think, out on board North Star time, and at that stage a lot of questions were unanswered about the relative merits of the two boats. We knew about the crews and how similar they were, but what's your impression now of these two when a lot of the pre-regatta talk had been that Alinghi were going to be quite superior in boat speed?
Well, I think Alinghi still has a tiny edge, but it's only tiny. I mean, she did get around the first mark in first place after being a little behind coming off the starting line. So you have to say, well, she's going fine. Downwind, they seem very even today. We should be quiet for a while, just watch these boats, because there's all sorts of possibilities now. Well, they're pretty much on Alinghi's air there. So Alinghi's going to go deep and try to get clear air behind and maintain her lead with air coming in behind and soak down to the gate from there. Both boats soaking. See how the spinnakers are rolled out to windward, particularly on the Kiwi boat. They're trying to close down on top of Alinghi.
So Dean Barker full of concentration. This is a very tense moment for both these teams. Emirates Team New Zealand, a pretty good start. Dean Barker did the job well again, and my word, he's impressed everyone over here, and he had his detractors. Don't make any doubt about that, but he has really shown that he's a class act. Now we're seeing whether he and Terry Hutchinson and his crew can get Emirates Team New Zealand into a position where their wind might just affect Alinghi.
I think it is, Alinghi look a little bit awkward there. See the spinnaker just collapsed again. Kiwis really positioned their boat nicely, and even though Alinghi's she's going to have air behind, but only after the Kiwis move forward, almost to a position where they would have overtaken. Then the boats will settle down and go at equal speed.
Yes, they're all over Alinghi at the moment and affecting the spinnaker. We can see what's happening. This could be a vital moment in this race. Let's go to Martin Tasker and Peter Lester.
To windward of Alinghi. Alinghi now in a defensive mode. Boats on the ley line. There's Brad Butterworth. If anyone can defend the lead, it'll be Butterworth. Expert in that area. Boats about. Alinghi still ahead. The Kiwis in the position, if they could soak down to put the wind shadow to affect the angle that Alinghi are sailing at. All it will take will be one way. The overlap, boats are overlap. That's the light, the overlap light that we have is also on the boats. That's how the teams know that the overlap rule is coming into force.
And they also seem to be virtually on the ley line. Now, this is where we're going to be hearing that call, hold your proper course. Explain.
Now, the thing to look at here, we'll come back to hold your proper course, is to look at the stability of the sails. It's a surefire sign if one of the sails, and I'd be looking at Alinghi, starts to look a bit soft in terms of the pressure in the sail are being affected by the windward boat. So Emirates Team New Zealand, in terms of the advantage line, now are rolling over the top of Alinghi. Emirates Team New Zealand now take the lead on the second leg in this vital race. The New Zealanders are in a must-win situation. So the afterguard of Emirates Team New Zealand have done a fabulous job to roll down with Alinghi under spinnaker on the second leg.
We heard Jimmy say he reckons they'll be leading at the next mark. And we saw the power of the right and how Alinghi exploited that in the race of fractions late in leg number one when Team New Zealand just couldn't quite cross. And splendid manoeuvring by Brad Butterworth and super defence by Ed Beard was enough for Alinghi to lead by 7 seconds. So this has really been a bounce back by Team New Zealand. Excellent stuff, out to 50 metres now, and they're getting very close to the mark. We can see the gate as they're right alongside us. So now, which way are they going to go? Here comes the drop, the spike from Team New Zealand. And they are going to take the left-hand gate looking up the course. And that will leave the right-hand gate to Alinghi. So Team New Zealand lead halfway through the race. Remember, Alinghi led by 7 seconds here at mark number 2. It is Team New Zealand leading by 14 seconds.
A little surprise there to see Team New Zealand give Alinghi the right-hand gate. I mean, the obvious explanation is that maybe the gate on that side that Team New Zealand rounded had an advantage. It was set for a wind direction and was a little further upwind, which gave them an advantage. I mean, definitely it was the better manoeuvre for the crew, but honestly, I'm a little surprised that they didn't go the right-hand gate.
Well, we're getting information from our director, David Turner, from Dave Snackenberg, our virtual eye expert. There was an 11-metre bias to the left-hand mark, which reinforces the point you make, Jimmy. But Alinghi are out to the right. And we have seen the power of the right earlier on. But whether or not Team New Zealand can nail that home, because, wow, they have got out to... They're between 50 and 60 metres at the moment. And that's going to be an advantage. Can they nail that home? Because they had the chance to go to the right, regardless of the bias. And we saw how powerful that was. We've heard sailors say for years, the power of the right, meaning how we saw Alinghi exploit that because Team New Zealand could not cross in the final stages leading up one.
Alinghi have come back on starboard tack now. Let's have a look at that advantage line. And it is still Emirates Team New Zealand leading by just 40 metres. So Tom, again, that's you can't breathe very deeply.
No, you can't. That's right. They've got almost enough to cross. It would be one of these pretty wild-looking crosses, especially if there's a little bit of error in that in the wind direction that they're seeing. It's certainly enough to make an easy lee bow, and so they'll be thinking hard about their options. You see, at 34 metres, it's a boat length plus 10 metres, and it should be enough. But now it's looking like 30 metres, and so it's a bit more marginal. So it looks like you're going to see attack.
There from Emirates Team New Zealand. Split tack again, 35 metres. The margin will change just slightly as they both slow down and then build up maximum speed again coming out of the tack.
That's right. The other thing to think about, of course, is that, the forecast as the day matures is for the wind to fade a little left. So they're probably thinking, we really like the inside and the left because both of those things are powerful, even though we are giving up the starboard tack advantage. That's Simon Daubney's voice.
Got a bit of pressure here, he says. We may see that advantage line lessen. They have run into a bit of pressure. Gosh, it must be tense on there, Tom. You've been in enough of these races yourself to know.
That's right. Especially for the trimmers are thinking and working very hard. The helmsman's concentrating on helming, but the navigator and tactician are the ones who are trying to pick the time and looking for just a tiny shift of their way which can make the difference. It can turn an equal race into suddenly a 45-metre lead for one boat.
A 29-metre advantage. We're just going to take in a little bit of reaction now from the rounding of mark number 2 down at the woolshed. This is the mob of Kiwis down there. A few Alinghi fans as well, as you can see. Lead change. It's the woolshed here in Valencia, only a matter of 50 metres away from the Emirates Team New Zealand compound. Now, they'll be very silent at the moment. I'd imagine they'll be chewing their nails.
That's right. It is a tense time because, the whole outcome of the race could unfold in just the next 3 or 4 minutes. And just depend on the shift. If it stays exactly like it does now, then I think the Kiwis will be in a position to be able to push Alinghi to the starboard lane line and to lead them around.
Gosh, this is a tense time, James Spittle, isn't it, for Emirates Team New Zealand? That margin is not great, but what advantages do they have?
Yeah, very, very close, John. And I think this is a fascinating case and shows how important the right-hand side can be when the wind is up. We saw Alinghi just get a piece of the stern of Alinghi. They didn't need to be ahead, they were behind, but they just had enough to get them on starboard tack. And I think we may see a repeat of what happened on the last beat. If Team New Zealand can cross here, they're powerful. But as long as Alinghi can keep tacking back on the starboard tack, forcing the Kiwis over onto starboard as well, very, very difficult to get out of the left, and I'm sure Schnack will fill you in on that.
That's right. Well, we can watch the advantage changing. The Kiwis, I think, could almost cross if they were brave, but it would be a brave move. And anyway, as we see, they quite happy to go back onto starboard and hope that they can push Alinghi all the way to the ley line and force Alinghi to do an extra tack or to sail longer on port in the last tack, and have the Kiwis comfortably lay the starboard, lay the mark on starboard.
Right, now we're on this leg number 3. New Zealand leading by a boat length and a bit. But it's so very tight. Ernesto and Martin Tasker.
Expect to see Alinghi come back at Emirates Team New Zealand. These very short meters up now working towards the starboard ley line will be crucial. Alinghi there just bobbled in a big wave, but now we can see the bow of Alinghi zoning in onto the stern of Emirates Team New Zealand. That's a fabulous shot as Emirates Team New Zealand leave out tack Alinghi straight into the tack. The boats are overlapped, so Alinghi are coming right back at Emirates Team New Zealand as we work towards the starboard ley line. 2 minutes and 5 seconds to the starboard ley line. So Alinghi have just on 2 minutes. 2/3 up the buck, up the windward beat. But Alinghi, who are pushing Emirates Team New Zealand very hard for yet another lead change. Can the Kiwis defend as Alinghi come back yet again on starboard? Again, the intersection of the boats. Alinghi have a piece of Emirates Team New Zealand. The New Zealanders are pushing hard, coming in from the left. Alinghi this time look a bit more bow forward than what they were. Now Emirates Team New Zealand go into their squeeze, a delayed tack, but Alinghi are a little bit bow forward. Alinghi not surviving, they're straight out of there, but the Swiss boat looks to be tacking a little bit better up the second windward beat.
The numbers tumble down on the New Zealand lead as Alinghi really do squeeze. What an appropriate word that is, because they're squeezing everything out of their boat, everything out of this match as they continue to attack the Kiwis up this penultimate leg. And could this be the penultimate leg of the 32nd America's Cup? The Kiwis are doing all they can to stop it, the Swiss all they can to make it happen, to hang on to the cup with this deciding race. Match point they're on, let's not forget, as if we could. Fresh on the water, what are you looking at?
Well, as we saw last time when the tacking got fast and furious, the advantage went to Alinghi quite quickly. Emirates Team New Zealand had to break it off. They're legging out to the middle of the course again for the next exchange. I think if they pursued that tacking duel much longer, Alinghi would have blown by. So they made the right decision. But where they are right now on the course with one tack to come back to Alinghi, they're going to need something special not to be in exactly the same situation as last time. We're going to have some fireworks at the top mark. We could see the whole thing decided upon how these boats square up at the top mark. It couldn't be much more exciting than this.
And one thing that we initiate it will always be putting them about again, you know? Yeah.
There's so much talk going on board these boats now as they approach that third mark. And it may well be, Tom, that Alinghi are on the ley line, do you think?
Yes, but as you can hear, Brad is pretty keen to use this power of the starboard tack, and we could see some serious manoeuvring at the top. He's planning that as Team New Zealand tacks, he doesn't think they'll be able to cross.
When he tacks, you can aim at his stern and he won't cross you. We're gaining a lot here, bro. Yeah, but we don't want to go.
So confident with his call.
You heard that? He just, he said he's calm. Now, of course, if he makes a mistake and Team New Zealand does cross, they'll look a little, a tiny bit foolish.
Competitors, this is your race committee. Be advised, we are changing the course for your finish.
Well, all of a sudden, we've seen a few more meters and a few more meters at this.
To the finish, the signal is being made at the top mark. Flag Charlie is being displayed. Change of course. Course to the finish is 3-2-5. Alinghi.
So change of course here from Peter Reggio. But we're watching those figures, and a few meters means a fair bit at this stage of a race.
It certainly does. You know, that's, if the wind goes a little bit left, then the lead of the Kiwis is a bit more. As you know, Alinghi thinks the Kiwis do have a bigger lead than 23 metres. They think it's around 30. But after the tack, it'll be less than a boat length, and so you'll see the boats converge, and then Alinghi will try to put the Kiwis about, back onto starboard, and then beat them around that way.
This is one riveting boat race, no doubt about that. Race 7, standing by that mark is Peter Montgomery.
Boy, there's going to be some action coming here at the top mark. So here comes Team New Zealand tacking now.
This is going to be very interesting, PJ. Alinghi have the starboard tack here. The Team New Zealand, both boats dialed down here. This could result in a penalty for one of the boats here.
Alinghi's on starboard.
Oh, expect the flag. There's a flag.
And they've forced Team New Zealand away. We heard Brad Butterworth say, aim for his stern.
Slam dunk here by Alinghi.
And Alinghi is right on top of them. The lead changes again.
Question here is, can they lay the mark on Port Tack? Oh, yellow flag. Team New Zealand. Penalty, Team New Zealand.
Team New Zealand has got a penalty against it. Right, we'll talk about that in a minute. Just let's get around the top mark, though, for a start. Alinghi has got their bow out in front. Alinghi will lead around the top mark. So the lead changes for the 4th time. Here we go to mark number 3. Into the last leg of the race. Team New Zealand led at the last mark by 14 seconds after running and gunning Alinghi down. And it stops at 11 seconds. And it's Alinghi who are leading. Right. Now let's just quickly go back. We'll just wait till Team New Zealand hoist and get underway. And we'll talk about what they've got to do. We saw they were quicker downhill. But Team New Zealand have got a penalty outstanding now.
Approaching the top mark. The starboard boat Alinghi bore away and held her course. New Zealand bore away to go below her. She didn't keep clear. Subsequently, Alinghi had to avoid her, and it was a penalty on yellow Team New Zealand.
Righto, to expand on that, Jimmy Spittle.
Yeah, I wonder if that was the race just there, PJ. We talked about how there could be some fireworks up the top. Alinghi on the right-hand side, starboard hand, right of way. Team New Zealand tack. We're ahead about, had to do a big duck to get down. We see it here. Here goes Team New Zealand tacking over onto port tack. Alinghi puts the bow down straight away. Team New Zealand bow down, trying to get below Alinghi. It's not enough. If the boats held their course right there will be a collision. Look for Alinghi here to luff and protest, and that's a penalty, Team New Zealand. And look, PJ, I think it's going to be very difficult to come back from that.
Absolutely. Well, we heard Brad Butterworth setting up for it, and really Terry Hudson should have been aware of it. Frankly, Team New Zealand would have been better to follow the leader around the top mark and not expose themselves to that manoeuvre.
Yeah, just watching the onboard shot there, guys, with the hands in the air. From what sounded by the umpires, a very, very clear decision. And certainly from the helicopter shot, it did look like it was a fair call. As you said, PJ, the other option was to simply follow Alinghi around the top mark, get into that attacking position and try and make the pass down the bottom, which they did the run before.
Well, they've done that before, and surely Team New Zealand must have known they're going to be exposed there and target practice, because certainly the aerial shot was conclusive, and there was no doubt that that was a penalty.
I think Team New Zealand may have been a little further forwards or up the ladder rung, you know, closer to the top than maybe they had first thought when they tapped. Just couldn't get the bow down enough to clear Alinghi, who were approaching on starboard tack. It's very easy to be critical here, sitting here, but certainly an error there that will be very, very costly.
Well into the fourth and final leg of this wonderful race 7 of this magnificent America's Cup. And it is Alinghi on their way to defending the Cup. The lead is changed for the 4th time. Team New Zealand are carrying a penalty, but Team New Zealand have not given up as they're trying to get back in the race to offset the penalty against leader Alinghi. John and Tom, this has been pulsating action out of Valencia today.
Nothing short of that. PJ, it's been quite sensational. And when we look back at this and think maybe the 32nd America's Cup has decided on a penalty, well, we'll talk about it for a long time. We'll talk about it right now, Tom. If you can just maybe, we'll use Dave's virtual eye as well, just to recap on how that penalty occurred. What did Butterworth do?
Well, basically, Brad decided he was going to dial Team New Zealand, and that was going to put Team New Zealand on the starboard. Now, they were so far advanced ahead of Alinghi that it strikes me they couldn't get out of the way now. They basically parked themselves right in the way, and perhaps they didn't realise how far upwind they were. And in hindsight, their only defence, their only safe defence, was to keep going upwind and to see if they could cross the bow of Alinghi and to accept the fact that they could have been put back onto starboard and then follow them around. That was a safe play, like a dial-up in a pre-start. And I think that normally if the boats were really bow to bow, they could have got under Alinghi just fine, because the starboard tack boat is not allowed to go below 90 degrees to the wind. And so if they were down there and they can get below 90 degrees to the wind themselves, the port tack, they just go around underneath them. And then both boats head up, and now they're on the inside.
I think that's what Brad said. If they can do that, we'll look rather silly.
That's right. And so they were just far enough, they were a long way advanced. And in hindsight, if you did it again and you're that far ahead, you might say we're better off to do a VMG tack, come out and basically be in a position where we might cross and hope that the starboard tack boat has just thrown away some distance by easing the main, bearing off, and then having to trim back in again. And that distance that he's thrown away, we add to the lead we have got right now, and it might be enough to sneak around in front of them. And if we don't, then we're back on starboard, we're in second place, we might lose the race, but at least we'll be safe and we won't have a penalty. Yeah. So unfortunately, they did what's normally a pretty nice manoeuvre also, to try to duck the other boat, grab the inside, and force your way around the inside. But because they were so far upwind, they weren't able to get down below the other yacht, and so the starboard tack boat had to give way, and that's not the way the rules work. Normally the starboard tack boat's the one that the other guys give way to.
No, fair penalty, no criticism of that. We have a look now at the wind on the course through virtual eye.
It looks pretty even, little left hand at the bottom and light. And this is the point that James made, really light at the bottom. 4 knots at the finish line. So it's all on, you know. One boat could sail into a hole. The big enough shifts that Team New Zealand could do what James is saying they must, which is to catch up, get a leeward overlap, get luffing rights, or get another situation where they have a right-of-way boat and the other boat cannot keep clear, and then wind up with offsetting penalties and then have a simple race to the finish line.
Better sides, guys.
100-metre advantage now. It doesn't look as though there's far to go to that mark, but we're only a little over halfway, maybe 2/3 of the way there. We can see exactly where they are through virtual eye.
And of course, the difficult thing from Team New Zealand's point of view is that you see how much starboard there is and how little port. And so for Alinghi, it's getting easier as they just position themselves. They'll try to position themselves nicely in front of Team New Zealand on starboard tack, and then the options for Team New Zealand become limited. Starboard jibe, I should say.
Just so gut-wrenching, and out there on the boat, still going through all the motions and trying to remain mentally tough all the time, knowing that this situation now, which, while not hopeless, looks so grim for them.
It's difficult with 9 minutes of racing to go, and most of it on starboard, and as long as the breeze stays steady, then we know the performance of the boats is very, very similar. So we're looking for something freaky to happen with the wind, and then it could be all on.
I think it's fine. It's just
Yeah, it just has dropped way down. Look at those numbers down at the finish area. We started in winds of around 15, 16 knots. We're going to finish in very quiet conditions.
That's right. You see, the Kiwis seem to have a little bit better breeze than Alinghi now. Just looking at the tracks, they've soaked down and they're making gains, and it could still be pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, it's become variable too in direction, hasn't it?
Down. See, Alinghi's got two spinnakers, or they're just changing what their backup spinnaker is.
Wind dropping dramatically out on the course at the moment. The lead is below 100 metres. They'll be feeling relatively comfortable because it's only about 4.5 minutes. I'm not too sure exactly how. 4 minutes or so to the finish. And so we go back out onto the water now and join Peter Montgomery and James Spittle.
Right, well, things happening here at this stage, Jimmy, because boy, oh boy, we can see that things are starting to die. The breeze is starting to die. This is crazy.
Good for Team New Zealand. I mean, anything can happen here. We can see.
Ray Davies just talking that his voice is really lifting up. They can see Team New Zealand are eating into this. Remember, they have a penalty.
Looks like on the wind to the finish. I think it's about 30 seconds, 40 seconds away.
That's Ray Davies, strategist for Team New Zealand.
I think the wind, PJ, is going extremely light, but left. Now this can advantage Team New Zealand here. If they can roll down the front of Alinghi and somehow set up a bit of a penalty situation, get them overlap to windward, this race is far from over right now. There is almost no wind at the committee boat right now, looking at that flag. It's almost saying offshore wind to me.
And also, behind us is a huge cruise liner, and the smoke is just going straight up from this colossal cruise liner. There's a spectator boat out here.
There we see New Zealand setting a head up, setting up a jib. Yeah, definitely less than 5 knots. I mean, I think there's 0 knots at the race committee. I think it's offshore.
Rich Reichelsdorfer is just showing us here the instrument on North Star. The wind has gone 30 degrees. It's shifted 30-30, Jimmy.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, here we go. Both boats setting up jettilers to go upwind on a downwind leg. That just shows how big a shift. This, it's all on now, PJ. This can advantage Team New Zealand. They no longer have to do a penalty in a circle. I'm not going to go into it. It'll be too complicated to explain it. But this is very, very good for Team New Zealand right now.
So down comes the pole. And we'll get a call in a moment just how far to go to the finish. So about just over 500 metres to the finish. This is dramatic what's happening at the moment. Really dramatic. This incredible finish.
This is very close, PJ. Team New Zealand are going to be close to be able to do this. This is going to go down to the wire.
Team New Zealand are coming down, but they've got to undertake the penalty. Team New Zealand are just having their lead eroded. It's just going before their very eyes. Inside 400 metres to the finish. They've gone trawling as well. It's ticking against them, down to 50 metres. Team New Zealand are off, but they've got to undertake a penalty. Jimmy will talk about that. They've got to do a 270 rather than a 360. Can you believe it? Talk about high drama.
Before Team New Zealand cross the finish line, they must complete a 360-degree turn, or really attack a 270-degree turn. Now, they have one of two options. If they think they've got enough lead, through and do it just on the finish line. If they think they don't, they'll go down and try and set up an attacking position.
Virtual Eye, give it to Team New Zealand. That means the lead has changed 5 times in this incredible race 7. How many races of the century can we have in this regatta? Right, coming down to the line, and Team New Zealand have got it, as they've got the breeze, that is. They've got to undertake the penalty, just over 140 metres to go. If Team New Zealand did not have the penalty, they would win it.
All down to completing the penalty, PJ.
We can see Team New Zealand's got much better air. They're doing 2-1 over Alinghi. From where we are on North Star. Alinghi is out, well, that shot was out to the left. Here goes Team New Zealand. They're going through the penalty now. They're going through their penalty. What a way to finish. Race number 7. Team New Zealand are going for it. Can they get their bow down? Can they undertake the penalty? Here goes Team New Zealand. They're coming down. Alinghi out to the left. Team New Zealand, can they accelerate? Yes. Yes, can they do it? They're getting up. We need a high shot to be able to see it. Team New Zealand coming down. Alinghi's going to get there. Alinghi have done it. Alinghi have won by 2. The 3rd of July 2007, and the America's Cup stays in Europe to crown the first successful defence for Alinghi from the Yacht Club of Geneva, led by Ernesto Bellarati and skippered by Brad Butterworth, in an incredible finish to the 7th race of the 32nd America's Cup. The first America's Cup since 1851, and Alinghi win an incredible, breathtaking, heart-stopping race 7 of the 32nd America's Cup out of Valencia, where the lead changed 6 times. Alinghi 5, Team New Zealand 0. What a compelling regatta where every chance mattered. Team New Zealand led 2-1, but in races 5, 6 and now race 7, both Team New Zealand and Alinghi had chances that have become defining moments of the regatta. Jubilation and delight aboard Alinghi. They have an outstanding team ashore and on the boat. The Kiwi Type 5 of skipper Brad Butterworth, Murray Jones, Simon Daubney, Warwick Fleury and Dean Phipps have been at the core of the Alinghi success. They have now won 20 America's Cup races, 16 in succession, to sail off into America's Cup glory. Jimmy Spittle, what was more impressive? Race 3 or this? I mean, talk about high drama out of Valencia. Can you believe it?
I can't. I mean, that is one of the best races I've ever seen. And there we were at the top mark thinking it was all over. It was far from over. The wind totally died out. Both boats putting headsails up. And it all came down to that penalty. I mean, 2 seconds to New Zealand coming back and living another day, or Alinghi doing it. It just does not get any better than that.
And then rewind to the decision of Team New Zealand taking the left-hand mark, looking up the course. Yes, there might have been an 11-metre bias, but they were in front. If they had taken the right-hand mark, looking up the course, had the power of the right, they wouldn't have been exposed to cop that damn penalty.
Yeah, we were a little surprised with that. I mean, we talked about it, and it's so hard to be critical. I mean, I've been out there, and look, a 10-metre gain is quite a lot on the gate, but we've just seen right-hand side how dominant it can be, and starboard hand advantage. We've seen a
Today's America's Cup coverage is proudly brought to you by Toyota. Every day, bringing our team one step closer.